Yeah, I'm gonna take my horse to the old time road. I'm gonna ride till I can't no more. I'm gonna take my horse to the old town road. I'm gonna ride till I can't no more. Anyway, enough of that. Just wanted to chat it up this morning with this boxing talk. What's good, everybody, on this Friday? What is good with you? Hopefully everybody's doing just fine. Loving life. You know what I mean? So we're going to kick this off, talk about some of that important stuff, like that boxing, and a snippet of mixed martial arts, as we always do, you know? So let's go. What's popping? Let's get to the 2019 boxing schedule, give you a little bit of info on what we have lined up. Of course, Saturday, June 1st, 2019, Madison Square Garden, we have Anthony Joshua, 22-0, 21 knockouts, going against Andy Ruiz, who's 32-1-21. What's going on, Shakita Dowell? Thanks for dropping in. It's good to have you on board on this Friday. Thanks for tuning in to World Combat Sports. Much appreciated. Salute. Pass the word. Saturday, June 1st, we have Devin Alexander, 27-5-1, 14 knockouts, going against Ivan Redcock. You know the story about Devin Alexander. It's good to see him back in the ring again, to get himself back on track. It's supposed to be a step-up fight for him, but we'll see how he performs. Pretty decent face-off. Hey, for those of you that's tuning in, your participation is absolutely encouraged. We're going to get on some good topics, man. And I always want to hear what you got to say. That's what it's about. So leave your comments below. And we're definitely going to start getting hot on these topics. Friday, June 7, 2019, Zab Judah is back in the square. 44 victories, 9 defeats, and 30 KOs. Former undisputed welterweight. He going in there against Cletus Selden, who's 23-1-19 knockouts. Then, of course, June 8, we have Triple G, 38 victories, 1 defeat, 1 draw, 34 knockouts, versus Steve Rhodes. And we all know the story with Triple G, changed trainers, so now he's aborted the mission with Abel Sanchez on a new road, different avenue, to make it back to that top tier once again. And June 8th, Oscar Valdez, 25-0, undefeated, 20 knockouts, versus Jason Sanchez, also undefeated, 14-0, 7 knockouts. And I'm just going to stop it right there. You have the World Boxing Super Series that's going on. And, a little bit of hip-hop hoopla going on about the hype between, Regis Prograis possibly winning it all. But, hey, that's still a little bit up in the air with who he has to face on the way out. We'll just see how the matches maturate themselves. But that's where we at. So let's kick it. I want to talk to the fight fans. This is like only my second time over here on YouTube. This is where my homestay is going to be most of the time. Pop the garage open, pull out the boxing media vehicle, and talk to the boxing fans, man, and mixed martial arts periodically, and kind of get your input as to current events that we have going on in the sport. That's my concern. All right. And I have no problem with listening and hearing, as long as you're not trolling. If you're trolling, you got to go, period. Because it's not conducive to anyone if you're on here just, as if you're on a playground. Actually go to the playground and jump on that swing set, because you're not going to play around on the sliding board over here. I want to start off, first of all, talking about the fight that's going on in Madison Square Garden. Anthony Joshua and Andy Ruiz. A lot is talked about as far as, Joshua's name always going to be linked to Deontay Wilder and why the fight hasn't happened and so forth. And true enough, everybody will ask that question, why the fight hasn't happened. And, it's just a lot to that. It's so much detail to that. And like I always say, I'm glad Deontay Wilder never capitulated himself to take that deal and lock himself into a, no silver bracelets on his wrist and being restricted to make those moves like he's doing now. He chose to fight Luis King Kong Ortiz again. And pretty much from my understanding, much of what I'm taking from it is that he was dangled around so much last year in 2018 that he decided everything is going to be on my move. When I press the gas, you'll know I'm moving forward. You're not going to pull up on me and get a reaction out of me to think now all of a sudden I'm supposed to show you this much needed attention. No, I'm gonna make these fights when I want to. And Eddie Hearns and Joshua pretty much had the opportunity, but they always want to put restrictions. If you put restrictions on one fight and not all the rest, then guess what? It's somewhat like discrimination in its own way. It doesn't have anything to do with ethnicity. I'm talking about when people hear discrimination, they think it has something to do with shade all the time when it comes to ethnicity, race. I'm talking about discriminatory when it comes to giving a fair deal to another fighter that's supporting his family too. That's what I'm saying. What's going on, 24? I see you in the house, man. 24 said, I'm glad Wilder's doing his own thing. I'm glad too. Hey, the heavyweight division is one of the hottest divisions out there outside the perimeters of welterweight. Let it be known. It's a lot that's popping off in that division. And as fight fans, we just got to be patient until it all work itself around to fruition. You know what I'm saying? Like boxing has always been a business first. So when it comes down to this, it's nothing different. I'm glad he took the fight with RuizvOrtiz. All right. Tyson Fury took the money, the bag, and ran. It wasn't for no 80 mil, but he still, he got an offer, took the bag and ran. And if it was that simple, if he felt the fight between him and Deontay Wilder was controversial, what you do? You smoothed all that out. You get right back to business. You jump back in camp. But since he was up in the light for a period of time, taking that count from, Jack Reeds, he kind of had a change of thought once he returned to reality and facing the Bronze Bomber. So now the Bronze Bomber is going to face the other entertaining fighter that he was in there with, King Kong Ortiz. And yes, King Kong was stopped in the 10th round, but a lot of people talk about that fight to this day. A lot of people talk about that fight. Reason being because it was suspenseful. And when it comes to Deontay Wilder, a lot of people wants to talk about the, that going against the grain, the adversities. They'll put what he did good in the fight at the end. But they'll say, hey, well, King Kong had him hurt. But they don't want to talk about how he was supposed to be this very fluent southpaw for a heavyweight. He moved very fluently on his feet. And they're saying he was doing what he's supposed to for the first 3 rounds. But guess what? They figured him out. Dropped him early on. Got his timing down. Weathered the storm in the 7th round and came back in there and finished King Kong Ortiz in the 10th. That's going to be a very good fight the second time around. I believe it's going to be much easier for the Bronze Bomber to go back in there and get that work in with Ortiz and finish him. To Anthony Joshua and Andy Ruiz, not too many people talking about it. You know what I'm saying? Not too many people talking about it. It's out there. It's going down right now as far as the media week. I kind of put a video out there I call Bezel Media, just at the drop on time, anytime. And I was telling people that the audience just doesn't look like that in a natural setting. When you're going out here to see these fighters, especially Anthony Joshua attempting to make a splash in standing water over here in the U.S., you know what I'm saying? I know he believes that this huge ocean in the boxing community is his. He can dictate the flow and the current, but it's not like that over here. It's not like that. You know, you come over here and you have restricted media around you, and you only have certain people. That's not natural, because you need the smaller tier media vehicles to segue your narrative and ask you those tough questions if you want it. You're over in the US. How can your setting over in the UK be similar to what you having over here in the US? That's not going to fly. Anyway, 24 say he the only one out of three that fought Ortiz and he running it back. Real talk. You know, he's running it back. You have to give that understanding that Deontay is running the fight back. A fight that Ruiz was a offender, you know, a PED offender. He still gave him a shot. Also, he took in consideration that Ortiz's daughter, you know, was going through a type of illness that she had, and he took that in consideration to give that man a payday. So now that the situation somewhat faltered between Anthony Joshua's offer to King Kong Ortiz, you know, all the details that went into that, they offered him $6 million and so forth, and he wanted more. Whatever happened for a reason, because Wilder and Ortiz is back in the ring. 24 say, though I don't care about AJ versus Ruiz, all they've been doing is talking about is Wilder. And, you know, 24 made a good point right there. Most of what they've been talking about is Deontay Wilder, because he is the numero uno king in the heavyweight division, period. And a lot of you all out here just don't want to admit that he's basically called out everybody that's a top tier name in the heavyweight division. He's made a point, underlined it, been in the media, of calling out Anthony Joshua so many times, man. And if Povetkin, Joseph Parker, Carlos Takam did not receive a flat fee, so why would you go out here and present that to a fighter and it's a deterrent? You basically want to send the man in here into a very tough unification bout, right? It's supposed to be the best in the heavyweight division, but you want to mentally deplete him of being healthy enough to step through those ropes. I'm talking about the check he received for stepping in there and doing battle. You want to deplete him of that process, right? That's all I'm saying. Like, you want to give a man 12 million flat fee. Who does that? Like, why, if you truly want to fight, why would it be so leveled on the top? Why not give him, you know, a percentage and everything else meshes together for a nice, fair paycheck at the day at the office? I mean, that's how it's supposed to work, right? Anyway, what's going on, Fred Thomas? I appreciate it. Say WCS salute. Champ just sub. I appreciate it, Fred Thomas. Thanks for tuning in, man. Real talk. And those of you that leave your comments about the topics, you know, it can be a topic that I spoke on, 10 or 15 minutes ago. But I just want to hear your comments, man, because I definitely will return feedback and give my opinion on what you just said. So pass the word. I appreciate that. Salute to you. What I was saying about the heavyweight division, I just look at it in a sense that, you know, if you offer a deterrent and you're being disingenuous from the start, it's going to come a time where that person's just going to say, forget it. I'm not playing any more games with you. And that's just what happened, what I believe with Team Wilder. But when it came around to 2019, and it was so difficult for him to make that bout, Eddie Hearns, prior to in 2018, said the Wembley Stadium was not available for Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder. Eddie Hearns has also said that Joshua needs an 8-week training camp, period, point blank, for Deontay Wilder. Well, all of a sudden, the WBA comes out the blue and says it's a mandatory. Joshua has a week to sign off and commit his mandatory Alexander Povetkin last year, else he'd be stripped of the WBA. The week came and went, no repercussions. All of a sudden, you hear Anthony Joshua sign a 2-fight Wembley deal. The dates are September 22nd, and the next one, April 13th, 2019. That's real talk, y'all. So we can look at it from any measure of biases that you choose to. But they chose, and they already had set up who they was going to fight to begin with. All the Deontay Wilder stuff, it was just a ploy, man. It was just one of those ulterior sales that they put up in the media for people to latch on to. And really, they didn't want to fight. They just didn't want to fight. Because if you wanted to fight, the deals would be fair and healthy to both parties involved, both pugilists that's going in there and to fight for undisputed champion. That's all I have to say. So, turning the page over here to 2019, what we have. We now have, a fighter like Deontay Wilder, who's coming off a devastating first round knockout of Dominique Breazeale. And then he chooses to fight King Kong Ortiz in a rematch, which I will tune in for that, of course. But this weekend, you have Anthony Joshua and the Ruiz, who the primary topics of discussion is Deontay Wilder. You know what I'm saying? They're pretty much perturbed that Deontay Wilder isn't showing up. He isn't showing up. Now, all of a sudden, they want him to show up so they can piggyback off the wave that he left over there in Brooklyn. He fought at the Barclays Center and knocked out Dominique Breazeale. They want some of that. They want to feel how hot it is, y'all. 24. So I remember when they said, what has Wilder done to get an AJ fight? He has no fans. He needs to build his profile. He's not known. He has no ability. Man, that's real talk. Underscore. They was basically saying Deontay Wilder really had no name. His resume was subpar. He didn't do anything. But you know what? That was never true. Because you look at both resumes, you look at how Anthony Joshua struggled to fight for those vacant titles with Vladimir Klitschko. And then they say Deontay's never fought anybody. People are going to say what they want to say. Real talk. They're just going to say what they want to say. It's a freedom of speech. It's an opinion. It doesn't mean everything is factual. But when it comes down to the U.S. public and the way they go about, I don't know, spoon feeding their effort to support the U.S. heavyweight champion, it's disappointing, y'all. That's all I'm saying. Because when they was trying to come over here, right, Eddie Hearns and Anthony Joshua, they were trying to come over here to the U.S. and say, I'm going to ask 50 people, do they know who Deontay Wilder is? And then obviously you had people, it seemed like they were scripted. Because if someone asks you naturally in a dialogue, who is so-and-so? And if you don't know, say, no, hold up. Why are you asking me that? Like, who is he? You're not going to say, who is he, a football player? That's not natural. If you say who Deontay Wilder, you're not going to get a reaction. Say, who is he, a football player? Who is he, a basketball player? It's not a natural conversation to have, man. You don't have to read a book on sociology to understand how to communicate with people. It just doesn't seem natural for them to come over here to the U.S. and say they asked 50 people who Deontay Wilder was and they didn't know. That's BS, man. Real talk. 24 say if Wilder win 12 rounds with Breazeale, they will not be bringing his name up as much as they are. Look, that fight, the way it went down in the Barclays, for him to be facing a guy who had already stepped in there with Anthony Joshua and was knocked out in 7th round, his name being Dominique Breazeale, right? So for Deontay to give Dominique Breazeale the mandatory, that shot on the big stage, it did very superb numbers for Dominique Breazeale not even being a champion, y'all. Dominique Breazeale was not a champion, but they had a history together. Wilder had a history with Dominique Breazeale. So they settled that in the ring. Just so happened, somehow, some way, he became the WBC mandatory and everything worked out. And he met up mano a mano, face to face, corner to corner, the Bronze Bomber on the Barclays Center. Hey, how you doing? Lou, I see you. Salute. Thanks for dropping in. So when it all came down, you're right, 24. He knocked him out in the first round like he should have. That's just to prove to everyone that he wasn't on the level. You know what I'm saying? Deontay Wilder's taking this taking his technique. You know, he went back to the basics during training camp, and he came in there and performed as such. So you got to give him a salute and respect that about the Bronze Bomber for trying to polish up those wrinkles to his arsenal. But what I want to let you all know, right? I hear it all the time when it comes to the Bronze Bomber. You need to take just a little snippet of this in consideration. If you have so much criticism or you seem to vilify his basic boxing technique, answer me this question. Why hasn't he been defeated? Why hasn't it come so easily? If all the narratives I'm hearing after Dominique Brazil fight is that all he got is a right hand and he puts everything into that punch. Obviously, for the 2 minutes and 17 seconds, you really wasn't looking at what happened. You know what I'm saying? You really wasn't assessing boxing. You was just there saying, well, this Deontay Wilder, let's see, can Dominique Brazil survive his right hand? He has more than a right hand, people. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, the fact is, I heard a lot of my compeers that's in media refusing to give respect or any type of praise, adulations to the performance, man. It was epic. That was the first round. You talk about Terrence Crawford and Amir Khan, right? For 5 rounds, it was a little bit of mumbling in the audience. You know, you heard a little bit of people saying, okay, all right, what you doing, Amir Khan? Why are you on the deck so early? You know, people was just like all grouchy. It was like grouchy and stuff over there, you know, right? So when Amir Khan didn't come out, it was so loud, man. The boos was crazy. But Deontay Wilder, Dominique Brazil went out in 1 round. The Barclays was epic, man. People was on their feet the entire time he walked out the tunnel to the ring. No one was sitting down, like it was standing room in there. And when that knockout happened, it was just like somebody dropped a beat. You heard oohs and ahs over there, like, damn, did that just happen? But yet, that's all they were saying, right? Deontay right hand. But no, it was a combination, man. You know, he had to set that up off beat and make it work. And Dominique Brazil felt the blunt force of it. I'm glad the referee stopped the fight because that man lived to fight another day for his family when it all comes down to it. Dominique Brazil has a family. I know he was trying to talk himself into a fight that deep down in the core, he knew he wasn't going to win. But at least he was able to step up to the square and face the best heavyweight in the game. World Breakers in the house, man. Hey, y'all give a shout out to World Breaker Fighting. Salute to him. Be sure to follow his channel, man. I appreciate the assistance that you gave, man. Real talk, respect. A lot of cats on here that's doing media. They're not really talking about informative content, man. But I do tune in to World Breaker and what he got going on over there. And also, man, he kind of, you know, he definitely assisted me with some hiccups that I had. You know what I'm saying? Getting my stuff together as far as this YouTube with the equipment and everything. So y'all be sure to check out World Breaker Fighting, man. You know, the setup that he has, the platform and everybody that he has on there, Curtis, his co-host. Be sure to check it out, man. You know, it kind of gets me pumped up to understand that, you know, there are other platforms and vehicles out here that's talking quality content, quality talking points. And that's what I appreciate about it. You know what I'm saying? So y'all be sure to check that man out. You know, subscribe and put the notifications down there. Because he just had a setup where he was doing Q&A about boxing topics. Very informative, man. So salute that World Breaker. Appreciate it. So when it comes down to this fight this weekend, I'm going to be, you know, I'm going to be honest. If Andy Ruiz goes out in the first round, in my opinion, I just think the fight is a bit fixed, almost like Charles Martin defending his IBF title. That's what I'm looking at this. The reason why I'm saying is because Deontay Wilder came in and knocked out Dominique Brazil, who had already fought Anthony Joshua. All right. We know that went 7 rounds, but Deontay wasn't going in there to go 7 rounds. He was going in there to do what he do and to finish the fight early. It came at the mark of 2 minutes 17 seconds. So looking at the way people responded to that knockout, all the memes that's going around. So now Joshua has to follow that. That's where we at right now. Joshua happened to follow the performances of Deontay Wilder because the fight between them two is what everybody want to see. But if he steps in there this weekend and finish Ruiz in 1 round, I'm telling you, I just don't buy it. I just don't buy it, man. If Ruiz, he looks like he can take a punch. I saw him in there with Joseph Parker and, some other fighters that he faced. Devin Vargas, he had a knockout there. Demetrenko, he retired him. He has some names on his record, okay? None to the status of Anthony Joshua. If Anthony Joshua goes in there and finishes Ruiz in 1 round, it's absolutely utter BS, and we all know it. And things like that happen in boxing. I'm not going to lie. It happens in boxing because right now, one of the ultimate matchups that can possibly exceed and breach any type of measure or numbers that's been out there before Wilder and Joshua steps into the ring is susceptible to being broken. It has the potential to be the highest grossing fight in the sport of boxing. It does, man. It has that potential. No more waiting around. When this fight happens, it has the potential to do grand numbers because we look at the numbers that Wilder did with Brazil. But can you imagine the embodiment of everything that's associated with the UK spectrum of combat sports, and then the Mecca over here in the US with Deontay Wilder? At that moment in time, I believe that more people will converge together to support the US heavyweight champion when he goes in there against Anthony Joshua. I believe it. I don't think it's going to be so much the Tyson Fury where, they walk into the Staples Center and you hear these voices singing Sweet Caroline and all that other crap that was going over there in California. California is a whole different type of animal. But they was just like booing the Bronze Bomber for no damn reason. You know what I'm saying? Didn't make no damn sense. 24 said Wilder has inherited the Mayweather hate. You ain't never lied there, 24. Straight Mayweather hate. I mean, it's not even like, in order for him to get the Mayweather hate, he has to start getting those Mayweather bags. You know what I'm saying? Hey, shout out to you, B. Snacks B in the house. Thank you for the support, man. Real talk. I appreciate that. 24 said Wilder has inherited the Mayweather hate so much to the point where people are wanting to pay to see him lose. But Mayweather was at a point where he established a dynamic between him and Mexican fighters, man. They was so eager to see this man step through the ropes and lose. They will pay $100 for him to go in there and face an MMA fighter that was 0-0, who had really no professional boxing skill set. Conor McGregor. They paid $100, y'all. All because Conor McGregor espoused a way that Ronda Rousey was talking trash about Mayweather. And when she received that ESPN award, he chose to jump on the bandwagon and start talking that trash too to build up a fight. And Mayweather, being the genius he is when it comes to making that bag, he's saying, hey, I'm going to sit back and see how many people, bite on it, give this attention. Because if they give it enough attention, I'm going to go in there and make over $100 million off this dude and beat his ass at the same time. And that's what happened. Conor McGregor was the right dance partner. Conor McGregor has his own distinctive bravado. He knows how to trash talk. And he was the 2-division champion, the first 2-division champion simultaneously over there at the UFC. Real talk. So the wave that he had going over there for Mayweather fit right in with people going to see Mayweather lose. People paid that night to go over there and see an upset. And Floyd invited them into his kingdom, his domain, by wearing a suit. His walkout uniform, his garb was that of a daylight heist, like he was a robber. You know what I'm saying? How much blatant does that get, y'all? When have you ever seen Mayweather walk out there with a mask on, basically saying, I'm committing robbery, and the people are right here. I'm not going to reach in your pockets. You have already delegated everything I want. Give me my check. And what did Mayweather do? He carried that man for 10 rounds, finished him. Period. So if they want to step up in there, step in this realm of paying to see Deontay Wilder lose, go ahead, man. Because you know what? I want to see the king win. I want to see Deontay Wilder go in there and get that type of hate to the point where people are satisfying him by paying to come out and see him continue to cement his legacy. Real talk. Either way you can get it. You want to see this man cement his legacy, and you want to say, well, I got to go ahead and see. More and more fans are going to gravitate to the performances that he's putting out. You know, one of the hardest hitters in the sport of boxing, period. Snacks B said, juggling between you and Trill, fam. Hey, you don't have to juggle there, Snacks B. I just started this. Like I said before, you know, I was doing testing yesterday. I'm going to jump off subject just a little bit. But you don't have to juggle between me and Trill for real. You can just put them and save it and do what you do, man. Hey, one thing about me, I'm not competing with any of these cats on here that's talking about boxing and they have authentic quality to their content. I'm not. I'm just not, man. You know what I'm saying? I just know the lane that I'm in, and I'm going to press the gas how I see fit. You know what I'm saying? Every now and then I'm going to crack the window and catch the breeze. You know what I'm saying? It's not even that serious. But get in where you fit in, man. And like I said, these cats like, you know, World Breaker Fighting, Trill fam, who I don't know too much about, but I have listened to him in the past, you know, 78 Sports. Absolutely. Blue Blood. All them cats, man. Salute to them. Continue to grow and do what you do out here, man. Snacks B said Floyd got that bag. Hey, Snacks B, Floyd received several bags, my brother. Several heavy bags. I'm talking about the type of bags that need to be enclosed in a mobile vehicle. Ones that somewhat will be identified as Brinks trucks. That's the type of bags Floyd Mayweather have. Not the type of bag that you just walk out. You know what I'm saying? Not the little satchels that he walk around with and he pull out bricks. We're talking about his payload, his transport need to be in a Brinks truck. You know what I'm saying? For proper transport. Real talk. But I want them to give Deontay Wilder that heat, you know, to support him and come out there. Because the man is hungry. He's doing great things for the sport, man. I like to hear people sit up here and try to excoriate his technical skill set without really assessing everything about him. So when you get with your girl, you know, whatever, y'all go out to the fight, you're going to find yourself probably being a fan. Because who does a press conference like Deontay Wilder, man? I've seen this man on several occasions close down the building and talk to fans and kids. I've seen it with my own eyes, man. I've seen him integrate and just mingle with the fans and do interviews with the media. What I'm seeing for Anthony Joshua on this lead up is invitation only, and it looks just like he's in the UK. You know what I'm saying? It looks like you walking into a doctor's office and waiting on your appointment. You know what I'm saying? Everything's so quiet, and a certain group of people, everybody's in there for a certain type of illness or whatever. So the mentality and the mood is just the same. You're not going to get that with the Bronze Bomber, man. Whole different energy that he puts out. I like it coming from the heavyweight champion. I don't like comparing him to Ali when it comes to bravado, because Ali had his own bravado. But I'm telling you, like, it's good to see someone going in there performing. They have the machismo, the bravado, the talk to the fans, and then once it's over, fans consider them as an approachable fighter at the end of the day. Like, man, I actually came up to the Bronze Bomber and shook his hand. I actually went to his store and bought some of his gear. I feel like I'm part of the team. You know, that's the kind of energy I'm talking about. That's all. Shakita Dow, salute. Real talk. But that's where I'm at with that. You know, I'm gonna move on off that because I ain't really got time to be talking about that guy, Joshua, because I never really support him, to be honest. And I was on here talking about the Bronze Bomber last year facing Anthony Joshua, and I never received so much disdain from individuals who I know for a fact they reside up under the umbra of the nation's color of the USA. And they was trying to go in on somebody who's basically good with the holster of vernacular responses. I'm like, damn, you're not gonna sit up here and say a man is classless and like Brazil said, he's a disgrace. You're bloviating the narrative. How can somebody be disgraceful and they never even thought positive for anything? You going in there knocking cats out. You going in there finishing fights, 40 knockouts. The destruction and decimation that he did to freaking Bermain Stabern when he had his gloves up. Punched the man through his gloves and left him snoozing on the first of the bottom rope. Come on, man. Dominique Brazil. Come on, man. It's a meme out there where Dominique Brazil's spirit comes out of his body and then returns back and drops to the canvas. Devastating. And I know all the comparisons out there. How would he do with Mike Tyson? How would he do against Holyfield, George Foreman? I'm telling you, man, Deontay Wilder is one of the hardest hitters in our boxing pastime. And like you probably read in my articles, I really don't need any of y'all to co-sign on my narratives. That's just me. That's just what I'm saying, man, from what I see. For hearing him say that he's not built, he's a myth buster, right? For all the heavyweights that's been before him, to have the big calf muscles, the big legs, to sit down on their punches and have that power. The structure of Deontay Wilder is pretty much, he's growing into a frame that people will kind of portray him as being a basketball player or something else to that extent. And he's still generating ultimate impact power to weight ratio when he's landing these punches on you. It's crazy. Anyway, moving on. Hey, I'm down here in ATL, right? For those of you that didn't know. So right now, boxing in ATL is pretty much, it happens down here, but I hope it continues to kind of halo a little bit brighter than what it is. We have a champion that's training down here right now. That's at the gym doing his fight camp, Gervonta Tank Davis. So he's down here. Shout out to, Bronze Bomber fighter Tay Jones to be up in there training. He just came off a fight. And also in that same gym, Gervonta Tank Davis is training for his next fight. So yeah, he's right down the street from where I grew up, from where my mom stay at, man. He's training at a place that used to be a grocery store when I was a kid. It was crazy. It's a gym now. But when I grew up there, I used to walk up there to that store. And we used to get stuff, purchase stuff or whatever, and take it to the house, man. That was the good old times when you can walk the street and don't matter about anybody doing anything too much, But yeah. I'm not sure about the interview. Tank is a different type of dude when it comes to that type of deal. If I can get in, I will definitely get in and try to get an interview. I'm pretty sure Floyd probably will be in the ATL sooner or later. I'm not sure about his schedule, but I'm pretty sure TMT is going to roll through and check out his fighter. If I'm able to get that, y'all, you damn straight is going to be posted in the media, and I'm going to try to get that interview. Because Floyd Mayweather is a tough dude to get a hold of if you're not a part of certain media outlets, if you understand what I'm saying. But yeah, that's where we at, man. But anyway, moving on, man. The welterweight division, I like what I'm seeing. I'm only, I'm kind of going straight to the welterweight division because it's the next hottest one. And you have Keith Thurman and Manny Pacquiao do the step in the square. And let me hear y'all take on Keith Thurman and Manny Pacquiao. I just want to hear your feedback on how they saying that Keith Thurman should be the B side and Manny should be the A side. Do you believe that's absolutely absurd or preposterous like I do? Or do you have your underlining, take on it just a little bit light? You know what I'm saying? How do you see that, man? Josecito Lopez did put Keith Thurman in some type of predicament in their last fight. But that doesn't negate the fact that the man was out of the ring for quite some time, recovering from 2 separate injuries. Tone, what's good, man? Tone in the house. Salute, man. Thanks for dropping in with you. All right. Tell me what y'all think about that. Keith Thurman, Manny Pacquiao, right? Manny Pacquiao, of course, is one of the elite anomalies in his boxing generation, his era. Real talk, 8th division champion, none other. He's in a class of his own. I get it. But just because he came off a bout with Adrian Bronner doesn't catapult him to the front when it comes to favoritism and saying that he should be the A side versus Keith Thurman. I mean, did y'all get hit with a check left hook? I mean, come on, man. Was it a below the belt? How are you all just going to jettison any type of skills from a former unified champion in Keith Thurman? He was the former WBC, and he's the current WBA super champion. How are you all going to say Manny Pacquiao? And these trolls and casuals be out here hard, man. I'm telling you, when they unite without even knowing they're working together. How are you going to say that the way Manny Pacquiao hits the bag is going to prove intensively how he goes in there and defend against Keith Thurman? It really makes no sense at all in me hearing that. 24 said, team one time all day. Thurman whooped Lopez off a 2-year layoff, and the only round he won was the 7th round. Yeah, he had a dominating performance when it comes to the rounds he was able to win. I mean, he was able to prevail in that perspective. He did run into trouble, but it's boxing. It's boxing, y'all. Real talk. So I can't really sit up here and just cover him with a negative critique. I just can't do it because Keith Thurman still has a lot of fight left in him in the boxing game. Real talk. That's just what it is. He still has a lot more potential to being competitive and unifying that welterweight division. And I really want to see him challenge for that. He was the former unified champion. So I'm looking and to say my prediction for that fight is that Keith Thurman takes it via decision. I believe he can still defeat Manny Pacquiao. He had to work out the ring rust and get back in there and get his timing back, get that coordination, get loose, get his body back into it, and he should do just fine. Tone said Keith Thurman has never been the A side in terms of revenue generation. He simply isn't that guy compared to Manny. But Pacquiao isn't the A side either. He's an over-the-hill fighter turned politician. The elder statesman, hey, Tone, that's very solid point, man. But when you talk about A side, B side, does it really matter, y'all? Does it really matter the A side, B side? Because we saw Canelo step in there with Triple G. with no belts, y'all. And he was still making the calls. He was still the A side. Does the A side, B side really matter? Some people it may. You know, if Keith Thurman, okay, let's just put it this way. If he didn't generate enough revenue, is revenue the criteria that you need to be considered the A side? If you Floyd Mayweather, it is. You know what I'm saying? If you Floyd Mayweather, that is a criteria that checks the box. But if you're saying Keith Thurman never really generated the revenue to be considered the A side, then guess what? We can look at Manny Pacquiao. Yeah, how long does that 8 extend? He's an 8 division champion, but God damn it, I mean, you pretty much had an easy go over there with Adrian Broner. That's all I'm saying. And Lucas Batiste had both feet out the door, souls to the sky, saying, hey, I'm ready for a freaking layout on the beach. I'm done. He announced his retirement immediately following that match. So you tell me, people, if there's no A side, like Tone said, if there's no A side, who has the edge? Who? Out of those two fighters, who has the edge? I would have to say deep down inside, you know, look at it, man. In the welterweight division, Keith Thurman recently was the unified, and we know he was stripped of the WBC. Now, held by Sean Showtime Porter. So I have to give him that edge. The younger fighter, the WBA super titleist, and Manny Pacquiao's the WBA regular. So I have to give freaking Keith Thurman the A on that, man. I'm not going. Hey, I can't sit up here. I won't bullshit you that I really haven't been that Keith Thurman supporter like that. I mean, I like the way he trashed talk and how he tried to philosophize everything and be on top of mountains and the tears and you know the volcanoes and shit, blowing the vuvuzela and playing a flute. You know, dressed like Gandhi. I get it, man. I get it. But I just wasn't that guy. Like, I don't know how many times I was looking at that screen when they asked the question about him facing Errol Spence, and Keith Thurman was just like procrastinating. He was beating around the bush. You know, he was being circuitous with his response, winding indirect answers. Just say, are you going to fight Errol Spence or not? But I have Keith Thurman winning that fight. Tone said Thurman would beat the brakes off Manny. Hey, man, I still see him being young enough to beat the brakes off Manny Pacquiao. Now, Manny is no punk. But look, it just goes to show you, just because he has the nation of the Philippines behind him, how people exclude the fact that Manny Pacquiao has indeed been unconscious completely. The remaining oxygen that was in his body was very minimal. He's been knocked out. You trying to tell me Juan Manuel Marquez, if he can do it, no one else can? You can't tell me anyone else that has defeated Manny Pacquiao, Keith Thurman, isn't capable of doing the same thing. He was called one time at one point in time. That's Keith Thurman. He was known as one time. Now we don't know is sometime or no time or whatever, but we'll find out when he faced Manny Pacquiao. 24 said Thurman by KO. What round there, 24? What round? Tone said it truly doesn't matter, brother. Hey, I believe it, man. A side, B side to me, I really don't give a damn, really. The one thing I want to pay close attention is just like the negotiation process being fair to those who are top tier fighters. Because if they're top tier fighters, they're holding the straps, right? At least give them that fairness in a sense of negotiation. You know what I'm saying? Allow them to receive a fair shake, to a sense, in a sport that isn't that fair. Like if you're the champ and it's champ versus champ, or, you know, the resume fits in nice and snug, Give them their just due. Make it a fair negotiation process without it being all controversial, and then the fight doesn't happen. And us as fight fans, we out here we on the outside like saying, damn, another fight is not going to happen. I know a lot of people out there saying that they're thinking Lennox Lewis and Riddick Bowe when it comes to Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua. To be honest, people, I believe that this fight is nowhere close to settling and being placed in a cold conundrum of not happening like Riddick Bowe and Lennox Lewis. It's too much money riding on it. And these are some of the top tier fighters in the heavyweight division. And the selection process is running thin. Believe that. It's very thin right now. You know, he fight Ruiz. Okay, Jarrell Miller popped. Okay, he's out the equation. Jarrell Miller didn't have a license at the time, so he got a slap on the wrist, right? So Jarrell will be back. I'm not sure if Anthony Joshua is going to grant him another shot, because that's possible. That's possible. You know, it's possible for Eddie Hearns to say, okay, we'll grant Jarrell Miller another shot in 2020, whatever the case. But at that time, he did not have an active license, so that's why he was able to get off a bit more leniency than he would have if he had that license active. Of course, he attempted to apply and it was denied. They're not going to go and do it like that. But what's in store for 2020 is the question. What about Terrence Bud Crawford, his next opponent? You know, what about Errol Spence? You know, he went in there and dispersed of Mikey Garcia, and now who he's facing. I mean, we're looking at Errol Spence's next fight, how important it is to the dynamic and the makeup of the welterweight division. Tell me what you think about that. You know, I want to hear what you got to say. I'm pretty much looking at the projected forecast of Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence, and I just don't see it precipitating anytime soon, y'all. That's just going to be a cloud that lingers and lingers and lingers, and we're going to be waiting on that for quite some time. Okay, so 24 say 7th round. Okay, you're going to give it 7th round to the old fella. All right. What's going on, boxing conversations, man? Salute, my brother. Thanks for dropping in. Real talk, main event, Mark. What's up? How y'all feel, man? Boxing conversations outside of World Breaker Fighting. He was the first one of my live to drop in, man. You know what I'm saying? That was crazy. I was just doing some testing, man, trying to clear up some echoing. Boxing conversations. Reggie Owens dropped in, man. So I can say, you know, World Breaker, I already knew him. He was over here helping me out, but one of my subscribers to tune in to one of my lives was Boxing Conversation. So that's what I will remember about that. Real talk. But I appreciate the ones who assist. Hey, Dog Judge, what's good? He said, salute, bro. Main event says, salute, big dog. That's what's up, man. 24 say Spence versus Crawford is not happening to 2022. Damn. You gonna put it that far out? Man, give me some binos to see that. Shaquita Dowell at 78 Sports TV. Salute to him. I actually tune in to 78 Sports all the time. You know what I'm saying? I was tuning in like Ticket TV, 78 Sports for the longest of time. You know, shout out to them brothers over there at LDBC. I know a lot of people try to group the LDBC together. I'm not a part of the LDBC. I do support the content that they talk about when it comes to boxing, but I'm not sure why all people looking at the black media vehicles and grouping all of us to the LDBC. I was going back and forth with a guy on Twitter the other day just for GP, general purpose, just to waste his time. Because, you know, he's trying to act like he's talking about boxing, but then he want to say, well, your narratives are the same way of the LDBC, and he was trying to discredit or jettison the fact that it was inequality to it. And I was like, you're not even talking about boxing. So my narrative can't be LDBC when we're not talking about boxing. You're talking about personal verbal sparring, which has nothing to do with a group of media outlets and trying to group them together in a negative sense, in a negative picture. You know what I'm saying? I just don't gather that. It's not for me to sit up here and figure out. But shout out to the LDBC and what they do, for real. Tone said, you got a good thing going here, brother. Hey, I appreciate it, man. Tone said, you are Black Media Row. Hey, man, I am Black, no doubt about it. It will not be any hesitation. I'm from the South, too. Real talk. Been at this boxing game for quite some time. Those of you that's tuning in, man, be sure to check out, my content on worldcombatsports.com, too. Be sure to check that out. I was a writer first. I've been writing for quite some time. Like I tell everybody, my writing is not for you to chronologically, put everything together with ease. I kind of leave you out there suspense to kind of mesh different talking points together as I go along. That's just the way I write, man. It's sporadic, it's different, and I love writing about combat sports. So I cover boxing and mixed martial arts, and grappling, and all the other collaborative pugilism that's out there. But also every now and then, I do like to talk to you, the fight fans, and kind of talk off topic on some current events and topics that's going on. Now that I'm up and running over here at YouTube, I look forward to it, y'all. I look forward to seeing the everyday frequent subscribers stop on deck, man. Real talk. Main event Mark said new media for sure. Hey, all what you see out there, my content, please check it out. It's me just traveling from fight to fight by myself, getting it in, grinding. All the edits that you see out there, all the boxing content, that's what I did, man. I went out there myself to these fights, not necessarily with media credentials, and I was able to get the drop where I can get it. That's just what goes on. You can't wait around for fighters to just give you the green light, that comfort zone that you're looking for, to have that access to the fighters. It doesn't work like that. These fighters, you have to build a rapport. You have to build a trust one way or the other, and you have to put the content out there for them to tune in to who you are. You know what I'm saying? They want to see, are you, of course, loyal to your craft and putting out quality content. They want to see, what your narratives are going to be when it pertains to the sport and their performance. That's how it operates out here. Not every fighter is going to be on board to show you love, man. You ask for interviews and people don't respond. You just got to go to the next one and keep on moving and do what you do in the media business. Because if you wait on one fighter over and over again, man, and you want to get on here and speak bad on them, that means you just didn't give a damn from the beginning. One thing with a boxer, they fight for a living. They know the fans are on their side when they're winning, and they know how many disperse when they take that L. I'm just, I'm just built from a different cloth, man. From the South, retired Marine. It's just certain things I look at like, they're the ones going on the battlefield. I'll take that in consideration. I've been in combat. They're competing in combat. Two different genres of service, absolutely. But my maturity to it all is that patience and your actions will basically win a lot of people over out here, especially these fighters, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Especially these fighters. I got to keep it moving. I have a lot of backstories on, fighters that I've encountered in person, and some was good, and the cliche, some was bad. And that's just the way it goes. I'll tell you what, you just don't get on here and just start talking and integrating a fighter just because you didn't get an interview right when you thought you're supposed to. That's all I'm saying. It's a patience man's game out here. Most of it's males that's out here, and most of the women that I see are behind the mic of a network. That's real talk, y'all. I ain't sitting up here sugarcoating that. Like most of the mobile media, whether they have a team or not, I don't have a team. So the way I operate is I have to consolidate everything in my schedule and be at certain places, transport, set up transport, and be where I'm supposed to be to get the drop. Just for instance, that video that you see of Deontay Wilder walking out the shoot and everything, and I'm close, I'm very close down there to the shoot. That right there took some maneuvering. That was what we call operation deployment. Bronze bomber. I have to get the drop. I have to get close enough to get that particular segment of footage to make it happen. It wasn't easy. Being that I wore the green before, man, used to being in that camo. 20 years retired, I did learn something about strategy, tactics. Y'all know what it is. 24 say never wait on a man. Got that right. If you in this media business, I'll take that back, that 24. In this business, you have to wait sometime. Seriously, you have to wait. Because everything, if they're not familiar with your work or who you are, they're going to make you wait. Period. These fighters will make you wait. And when you do get the chance to, interview them, you have to do it with class. You have to do it like you interested still. Not like you coming up there like a mullygrub and having an attitude and disgruntled, cantankerous in all effort, huffing and puffing, sighing, and talking about, okay, you had me waiting for an hour. I only got 2 questions for you. It's not going to happen like that. Real talk. They might shoe shine you out the interview real quick. Say, shit, I got to fight tomorrow, but, I'm going to take out some of this energy on you right here in the lobby of the hotel. Hey, man, I've learned a lot, man. I learned a lot from these fighters in a short period of time on how they operate. I have some funny stories, man, but God damn it, I don't think they ready for freaking airways right now, man. I'm serious. I'm serious, man. I just can't put it out there for real. But back to boxing. Yeah, deployment. Main mark say deployment. 24 say you have a point. I appreciate it. Thanks for all who's listening. So talking about that welterweight division, it is what it is, man. We definitely want to see the Terrence Crawford fight and also Errol Spence. Had a chance to see Errol Spence on several occasions. Haven't been able to get an interview, but I hope somehow, some way, man, that Errol Spence next fight is someone we all want to come out and see. Because when I drove up 12 hours to see him knock out Carlo Ocampo, that's part of the game right there. Like, you coming to see Errol Spence in his hometown, right? But he's fighting someone that they pulled on the backside of the top 15 and make them the mandatory for the IBF or whatever the case. But he finished the dude in the first round. Okay. So he's kind of picked it up. His performance, Mikey Garcia, just showed a whole nother cachet of technical prowess. The wrinkles in his game, man. He outboxed the shit out of Mikey Garcia. And it was good to see that, because a lot of people were trying to say that Derek James, the way Jamel Charlo came in there and fought Tony Harrison, he was trying to, go for the knockout too much. He wasn't as versatile. You know what I'm saying? He was a little bit one-dimensional, but trying to go for power shots. And then Errol Spence steps in there with the same trainer, and he's multifaceted. He showed a lot of wrinkles in his skill set. He boxed beautifully, man. Like, goddamn, the sweet science, man. He was everywhere on Mikey Garcia. He was exploring the angles, man, switching it up. He was punishing Mikey. And not one time did you see him just lose all control and say, I'm going for the knockout. I got to be the one to finish Mikey Garcia. He didn't see that. He kept it composed. He stuck to the strategy and offensive fight plan that they had. And he went and did it fantastically. And just a testament to who he is as a fighter, man. It was beautiful. It was good to see, man. It was beautiful going in there and seeing that happen to a multi-division champion like Mikey Garcia, who said he was better in every area than Errol Spence. Now Mikey Garcia might have believed that, people. You know what I'm saying? He might have believed that he was better than Errol Spence in every area. But when the gloves start to make their appointment, you know what I'm saying? When the flow of traffic began and the combinations started to disperse, we seen that Mikey Garcia was outside of the competitive game that he needed to be that night with Errol Spence, period. He was way below the levels up of Errol Spence Jr. And I'm glad Errol Spence went in there and made that statement the way he did. It was good to see that he was that, all-around fighter. Good shit. Now I'm hearing on the quick turnaround. You tell me what you think about this, y'all. Tell me what you think about this. Tell me about Mikey Garcia expeditiously returning to fight who again? Am I hearing that he's stepping in there with Danny Swift Garcia? Now, the amount of punishment that Mikey Garcia took, even though he did not go down at any time in the fight, do you believe that he's had enough time to allow his internal being to heal and recover from that punishment that Errol Spence gave him? And myself, I just don't think so. I believe he took a lot of punishment and he's stepping in there trying to get another huge, a nice hefty paycheck from Danny Garcia, who's just coming off a knockout stoppage of Adrian Granados. Tell me what you think, y'all. 24 say Jamel can box. He just fell in love with his power. Okay, 24, I have to ask you this, man. Are you saying the same thing about when he stepped in there with Austin Trout and did the exact same thing? I'm just asking, my brother, like he tried to do the same thing, thinking that since it was a competitive thing, like when he stepped in there with Austin Trout, it seemed like he was trying to do better than what his brother Jamal did, right? Then he steps back in there with Tony Harrison and he's trying to do something better than what Jarrett Hurd did. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just get that feeling that he was trying to prove a point that he can go in there and do something much better than those who did it before him. And though Jarrett Hurd, hey, Tony Harrison was putting no hands on Jarrett Hurd. You know what I'm saying? Just like J-Rock. But J-Rock was able to have a better cardio, much stronger, sharper. I mean, God damn it. The vision of J-Rock when he was in there with Jarrett Hurd. Superb. Love looking at that bout. I've looked at that bout several times over. Masterful performance of Julian Williams recovering and winning the belt after being stopped by Jamal Charlo. You know what I'm saying? Salute to J-Rock, man. It was good seeing you outside the Barclays that night, man. Even though my interview was cut short because people was pulling him from left to right, man, I ain't mad. The man gave me a little snippet of the interview, and I'll take it. You know what I'm saying? It was a busy night that night outside the Barclays, so I'll take it. 24 say Danny is going to knock out Mikey if they fight Spence. Spence and soften him up. I agree, man. Spence did soften Mikey Garcia up. I'm serious. He prepped that beef. Seriously, he prepped it. Errol Spence prepped it for 12 rounds. Main event Mark say, I'm not a DSG fan. I do think Mikey should drop down to 140 and stay there. 147 too big for him. Hey, check this out, Mark. Good point. Do you see Mikey Garcia being Regis Pro Grace? Let me know what you think, man. Do you see Mikey Garcia being Regis Pro Grace? I just want to know your input, man. 24, he dropped Trout 3 times, but I know when he was with Shields, he was a better boxer. And a lot of people are saying that when a boxer start off with a particular trainer, right, they never let go of the tools and the skill set that they was taught initially that's embedded in them. They never get rid of it. They can leave that initial trainer and go to another one. They still gonna apply the applicable trade that was taught to them early on. And we see that. It's still some boxing technique that we see that Charlo has from Shields. That's a very good point you made, man. It's absolutely true. Like, people kind of act like that he totally abandoned everything he learned with Shields. You can't. Like, you cannot abandon that. It's always going to be there. Jamal just have to add enough to his teachings from Jamel rather, to the point where he has to go in there and be a thinking man. He has to be smart about going in there against a boxer that's salivating and proving a point again. I mean, you got to give it up for Tony Harrison. I'm going for Tony Harrison this next bout. Seriously, I'm just going for Tony Harrison, man. Good dude. Y'all have to understand at the beginning and end of the day, these are fighters and they have minds and personalities and they want to win too. And what Tony Harrison did to Jamel Charlo was go in there and take his title. Period. Main event Mark said, I'm not a Jets fan. Okay. You think he should drop down to 140? Okay. I mean, we can agree on that. I kind of link up with you on that main event. I think Mikey Garcia should drop down to 140, but if he want to stay at 147 and keep getting his punishment, so be it. Listen, his team has been around the game for some time, man. Shouldn't we hold them accountable for saying, hey, Mikey, drop down to 140. You good. You good. Just stay right there. I would rather Lomachenko, whatever he's trying, Lomachenko trying to unify the division, have him move up to 140. But he's saying he's too small. I really want to see Mikey Garcia and Lomachenko get that work. I do. I want to see Teofimo Lopez and Lomachenko get that work. Fred Thomas say at WCS, Errol Spence beat Mikey up. I was there live, and no, I think Regis smoked Mikey. Dang, you think Regis Pro Grace Rougarou smokes Mikey? Damn, it's just something about that underlining, action. Smokes. You know what I'm saying? Regis smokes? Listen, Fred, Regis didn't smoke Velasco, man. Like, listen, man. I know Regis Rougarou. I know he's putting New Orleans on the map, man. I know it. I just don't see him smoking Mikey Garcia, y'all. I just don't see that. Mikey Garcia, seeing him going in there against Robert Easter, he was able to drop him, but he couldn't finish him. Okay, we seen Regis go in there with Julius Ndongo, right? Stop him in the 3rd round, but yet Terrence Crawford stopped him. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, hey. I mean, I'm talking about looking at that whole perspective on who's stopping who, when, and how. That's what it comes down to, man. Terrence Crawford, Regis Pro Grace, who stopped who, when, and how, all this other nonsense. I mean, that's what it comes down to this day. Doing it better, making a statement with an opponent that's someone else's fault that may be on a higher tier. But I get what you're saying, though. I don't think Regis smoked Mikey, though. I actually think Mikey can beat Regis, to be honest. Main event say, I think it will be a great fight. I have progress by UD. All right. Shit, since Mikey Garcia got that work for 12, y'all ain't giving him no love right now. Okay, I see. Macadon 1 says, salute to you, man. Thanks for dropping in. 24, salute Tony for running it back from sticking with Jamel. Man, you sticking with Jamel? Okay. I just didn't go with Jamel the first time around. I like boxing and assessing everything that happens when it deals with the technical display. That's the way I look at it. And I believe that, the defense of Tony Harrison, the way he, set up his punches and set traps for Jamel Charlo, where he was able to counter, working off the stick. I just seen a lot of good things that he did in there against a fighter like Jamel Charlo, who was really trying to make a name for himself and get that big paycheck. But he fell short. And the tear that he shed in the post conference said it all. That tear told me that L that he took against Tony Harrison hurt a lot more. But check this out, though. A lot of people didn't have remorse for Jamel Charlo because he was such a brash, overt trash talker. Talks so much shit to everybody. They didn't feel sorry for this dude. Real talk. They just didn't feel sorry for him losing his belt. So, okay. I mean, I'm going for Tony Harrison the first one, but I got you, man. I hear you, 24. Main event, Mark say, I don't like, no. I was in reference to if Mikey can beat Prograis. All right. 24 said, just like Crawford didn't get the Manny fight, Teofimo is not getting a Lomachenko fight. Hey, it's good you mentioned that, 24, because it was close. It was close, man. Somehow internal wrangling happened. Some people absorbed some animus that came from Teofimo, calling Lomachenko a bitch or whatever. Something happened in quote. I was there, actually. I mean, one of my interviews during press week, he actually said that in front of people. And for those of you that wasn't present, all the media was like, ooh, you call Lomachenko a bitch, a diva? God damn. So if you also look at another one of my vids, we're in a hotel lobby, right? And ESPN is following him around. So, of course, I tag on to stuff like that. I'm telling you, I love stuff like that, man. I support Teofimo. I like Teofimo. I've been around him and his family and his dad. I like the dude, man. I like how he is as a boxer. Man, he's outspoken, but not too over the top, and he's very entertaining. But I believe they kind of said, I'm gonna put you on punishment right now, Tio, because right now Lomachenko is the cash cow, and you're not gonna sit up here and disrespect someone who we're trying to move to unify the 135-pound division. That's what they said. So all of a sudden, if you hear in the video, he said, I'll be fighting in July probably for a title. Okay. And just the caveat of what 24 just mentioned, the Crawford not fighting Manny and Teofimo Lomachenko. I believe that fight fell through because there's deep disdain between camps. And Lomachenko Teofimo do not like Lomachenko. So instead of Lomachenko fighting Luke Campbell for that WBC vacant, somehow, some way, Lomachenko slid into the slot. Now it's him and Luke Campbell. They unify that division. And then who's next? The remaining one, Richard Comey, he's due to fight Beltran coming up. So the winner of that probably most definitely is going to take on Lomachenko. Now, in between time, I'm trying to see if freaking Teofimo is going to be able to get that shot at the IBF title. I mean, you feel me? I hope that Teofimo is able to get a shot at the IBF title before Lomachenko steps in there to unify the division without Teofimo having a shot. Because I'm telling you this because Teofimo is set to move up to 140. He is. He's set to move up to 140 because of, you know, the weight cut and everything. He's made that public. That's public record. He said that several times. And, you know, he told me that on several occasions that, yeah, 2019 is his last year down here. So we'll see. Because I did hear him say in the media that if Top Rank makes it worth his while to stay a little bit longer at 135, I guess for him to fight Lomachenko or what have you, for that big paycheck, then, you know, they need to come up with a nutritional plan for him to make this weight a little bit easier or something like that. Yep, I look forward to that. But good point, that 24, man. You know, main event say, oh, I still got mad love for Mike. I just think he might have lost some lifespan. I like that, man. He some of his lifespan was extracted during the 12-round annihilation against Errol. I also saw how Prograis handled the come forward aggressive style of Check so well. 24 said Teofimo said he's moving to 140 next year. Yeah, he's saying he's moving to 140 next year unless Top Rank make it worth his while a little bit to stay around for that big paycheck. That big paycheck down there would be against Lomachenko. That's if Teofimo can fight for the IBF title. Of course, Richard Comey has another fight in between time, and so does Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo is going to be fighting in the district. He's going to be fighting. No, he's going to be fighting in Maryland, I believe, in July. Yeah, I believe. So he has an opponent that he's locked in with. So does Richard Comey. So does Lomachenko, of course, with the vacant WBC fighting Luke Campbell. A lot of people are saying, okay, Luke Campbell is somewhat like, you know, he's there for the taking. I don't know. He has a respectable resume, but I just think he's going to go out like the rest of them. And he's not going to be able to win that WBC because the whole forecast right now and projection is Lomachenko unifying the lightweight division. Now, with Regis Prograis and everything, you know, Regis has been seen in the past of taking punishment. He can box. He can, Regis. But when you talk about Teofimo moving up to junior welterweight, man, that's a very tantalizing bout right there. Teofimo Lopez and Regis Prograis. Very exciting. You know what I'm saying? I look forward to seeing that. And then, you know, Mikey Garcia moves back down. That would be exciting too. We'll see. It's all about the boxing minds if they put it together to mesh it all in a perspective for the fans, to put butts in the seats. And we'll see what happens between those divisions, the 135 and the 140. But right now, Lomachenko is basically the cash cow. They're trying to move him and solidify his legacy down there 135. So they're going to continue to push him to unify that division and be undisputed. I'm just not a Lomachenko fan myself. I just think Lomachenko, in a lot of words, outside of his coordination and everything, I believe he can be beaten again. I do. Main event said, wow, he already wants to step up. Teofimo does. Yeah, Teofimo, again, I had the opportunity of following him a couple of times, and he couldn't wait all the way down to the last minute. So it was a little bit of time. I guess that he was saying that it's getting harder and harder, more difficult for him to cut down. So you know what happened with that? If it's hard for him to cut down and he's due to step up to 140, I think Teofimo will perform a lot better when he does step into that realm, that divisional realm up there 140 with those guys. Because I don't see Regis Prograis being down there for an extensive amount of time. I just don't, to be honest. I don't see it. It's a lot of people. It's a lot of matches to be made when you talk about some heavy hitters at that weight, at 135, 140. So Regis actually have a fight coming up. It should be pretty entertaining. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it should be pretty good. You know, undefeated, 24-0, 20 KOs. You know, you got Josh Taylor that's out there. Of course, we got Maurice Hooker. He just beat the number 5th ranked Ivan out of Russia. So we already seen Victor Posel. All right. Really, we already seen them. Only people that division in itself, you know, when you want to include Maurice Hooker, and then you got Jose Ramirez. When you want to include the Josh Taylors and Regis Prograis, I'm pretty sure there's a lot that can go down before Regis decide to move up. The division is so far away from being unified, it's crazy. Seriously, it's so far from being unified. Does Regis Prograis have what it takes to unify the 140 division? I have to be honest, I just don't know, y'all. I don't think Regis Prograis can unify the 140 division. I just don't see it, man. Now, who do you think can unify the 147 division, y'all? Who do you think? Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford, Keith Thurman, Sean Porter? That's where I'm going to stop, because Manny Pacquiao is not in no way, shape, or form unifying the welterweight division. I can imagine Prograis at 147, because Prograis, he has the frame to compete at 147. Look at how short Sean Porter is. You know, Sean Porter's a dog. No matter how you slice it, Sean Porter is a respectable fighter, man. I like Showtime. You know what I'm saying? I just can't sit up here, no way, no how, and dog the man out. I can dog out his performance against Yordenis Ugas. I can. He didn't look good. He did not look spectacular in the fashion that we just see Sean Porter look. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, man. You know, to have his title taken by Kell Brook and then come in here and lose to Keith Thurman. Okay, he has some good wins on his record, but he's been in some battles with people like Danny Garcia just finished Adrian Granados. Sean Porter went 12 rounds with Adrian Granados. You know what I'm saying? But Sean Porter beat Danny Garcia in 12 rounds. You know? So you go into the number one rank. I mean, you want to talk about Errol Spence and then Terrence Crawford, who should be pound for pound number one, and you see Keith Thurman and Sean Porter. If you look at that, you got 5th Manny Pacquiao and 6th Danny Garcia. I don't see Yordenis Ugas unifying the welterweight division anytime soon. Danny Garcia, you never. Jeff Horn is still in the picture, y'all. Even though it's a goddamn shade down and you peek through the blinds, he's still there at 19-1, y'all. Jeff Horn. So the only ones I'm really concerned about unifying the division is Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford. What's your pick? 24 say Loma overrated. He lost to Salido and got knocked down by Linares. People love to forget about that. Hey, one thing about the anatomy, psychologically, we were blessed with the behavior of selective amnesia. We're able to just exclude things that really doesn't fit what we choose to express honestly. You understand me, 24? That's real talk. I'm serious. People will selectively jettison the fact that Lomachenko was sat on his ass when he turned that corner and was stuck with a straight right hand. Oh, it was pretty. But he was able to finish the fight, though. You know? Yes, Alito gave him the down and dirty and put the kink in his plan for trying to set the record of coming over here after you've been fighting little boys over there in the Olympics. You know what I'm saying? You come over here and you want to be the first to earn a championship in the least amount of fights. It didn't go your way, but you end up tying that the top fighter that's over there. But I just never really fully supported Lomachenko, man. Like, I just feel he's a bit overrated in his competition. I really don't know what people look at when it comes to Lomachenko, how they glorify. When Triple G was winning, I would say, look who he's winning versus. You know, look at who's Gennady Golovkin is. You're calling him this master boxer. How? This dude was just like a robot coming forward, taking punishment to give punishment. A damn good point, 24. Main event say, can you imagine Progress at 147? I do. I imagine Progress at welterweight. And I wish he was up there now so he can kind of shake up the division a little bit with Thurman, Crawford, and Errol. Because Progress made it a point when he stopped Pugilist and Dungo in the second round, he's saying, hey, guess what? Terrence Crawford did it in 3. I did it in 2. He did. He threw that verbal sparring. He threw that arrow out there, man. It was lit. Directly at Terrence Crawford. 24 say possibly, but we have to wait and see. Main event said, I'm starting to give up on 147, to be honest. Love the fighters, but hate the politics. Hey, the politics bleed over across the scale in boxing. That's politics. It's a business first, man. We've seen it from many eras. Politics is like a plague, man. Politics ruin a lot of healthy moments that we've been deprived of as boxing fans, y'all. It does. It's a stifling purgatory. It is, man. And the one thing about it is it's ongoing right now as we know it. It's active. And it's not going anywhere. It's active on the battlefront. You have the business side that's placing shrapnel out there, and then you have the fighters that's going in there and competing in the square. That's taking the punishment. So the business side and the boxing side, man, they're always going to clash. Always. 24 say Porter just need to fight how he fights. That's when he's at his best. He needs to stop trying to listen to people and try to be too technical. Hey, his dad is his trainer. They're 24. You know, I mean, he has a very solid voice in his ear to take him where he need to be in training for these fights. That's all I can say with that, you know? I mean, like, I didn't appreciate the way he looked against Lucas. I was like, hell no, Udenis. Man, I'm like, damn, Showtime. This is not what we expect out of you. This is not the performance that we expect. It was subpar. You know what I'm saying? You look, Sean Porter's been around long enough and educated in the boxing elements to put on a much more solid performance than he did. Absolutely. Against Adrian Granados too. So, you know, you're making it easy for me, Sean Porter, to sit up here and say, well, when you go in there and fight, you know, Sean Porter, the next time he goes in there and contend, it's going to be a lot more people on the other side rooting for his opponent. And you know, when it comes down to Errol Spence, who do you think they got? Come on, man. Errol Spence and Sean Showtime Porter. Come on, man. Who do you think they're going to go for right now? Because even though Errol Spence, he don't say much, his hands are very verbal. His hands are very outspoken, y'all. And that's what the physical narrative you have to get used to with Errol Spence. His conversing with the media is going to be very short, but when he go in there and perform, hey, that's what you need to hear right there. Main event say, man, what a fight Prograis Crawford will be. I hope Prograis move up in enough time before Crawford decides to hang him up, because I'm guessing that Crawford's around 33. So Prograis' narrative really hasn't bantered him with any type of intention of moving out the 140, the junior welterweight division, up to welterweight. You know what I'm saying? We don't know what may change during that time, but It's yet to be seen. That would be a good fight between Terrence Crawford and Regis Prograis. I mean, like I said, I wish Regis would just move up just a little bit quicker, a little bit more haste in 2020 or something like that. But I know he's trying to get that belt, though. He want to finish out the World Boxing Super Series and then make that move next door. But good point there, main event. Real talk. Same to you, 24. 24 said, do you think any black boxers that lose to someone like Salido would be pound for pound number one? I would have to say the way it looks for Terrence Crawford outside of pound for pound number one would pretty much put that in a rhetorical response. The answer would be no. Because I look at Terrence Crawford and Lomachenko, neither fighter really promote themselves, right? Both of them, right, at this point in time, are 3 division champions. One is undisputed in Terrence Crawford, and the other one is vying to get that slot as being undisputed to cement his legacy. That's what they're pushing for, the whole Lomachenko legacy. So if Terrence Crawford would have came in here and lost to Salido, that would have just been another mark. Because the cash cow is Lomachenko, the 2 gold medals and all that other mumbo jumbo. I just don't like the ex parte when it comes to people balancing those gold medals on his professional ledger. That's all I hear. If people balancing those 2 gold medals on the scales of his professional ledger in his resume, which his resume, he hasn't really set up here and fought individuals that you can consider a heavy list of dogs. Don't sit up here and bring no Regis Prograis in here. I don't want to hear no Jorge Linares. Man, I don't want to hear none of that because Linares had already been stopped before. So you're fighting individuals and you're steadily trying to convince everybody that you have knockout power. When Lomachenko can box, okay, he has this fluency and coordination to his footwork and hand speed and stuff like that. Yeah, I get it. But don't sit up here and balance his gold medals as if that's what you want to be the forefront and the headlights to his career to the Hall of Fame. When Carissa Shields has 2 gold medals, and we just saw what she was able to do undisputed, and her name is nowhere even close to being on that list. You know what I'm saying? And so you look at Terrence Crawford, he's been sitting outside the pound for pound list, moving up to welterweight, and his first bout was a title shot. His first bout was a title shot. And he still can't get pound for pound number one in front of Lomachenko. At the end of the day, y'all, look at it this way. Lomachenko is going to be in the Hall of Fame. It ain't no way you're going to stop him. There's no way. You can set up a perimeter. You can put up the Constantino wire. You can get an ADT. It don't matter. Man, they love Lomachenko over there. They're going to put him in a Hall of Fame. They're going to get him as close as possible to unify the lightweight division. Period. I just see it going down like that, man. Gennady Golovkin, his new trainer, he's due to step back in there sometime soon. And, whatever he has going on, to be honest, this is a guy who campaigned at the same weight class for quite some time, right? And people like Gennady Golovkin can knock out anything. He's Triple G. Heard Jim Lampley just going on and on about, Triple G. And I'm like, man, what are they looking at? Like, look at his opponents. Look at his opposition. And, man, when he went to a draw with Canelo Alvarez, I was so happy. I'll say, okay, this is going to be a rematch. And I just feel that all this Mexican-style nonsense, you're going to piss Canelo off just enough, so he's going to give you the Mexican style. We're talking about a fighter who learned from Floyd Mayweather. He learned from that whooping he took. And now he's one of the smoothest, craftiest, freaking technically sound fighters in the game right now, man. And Saul Canelo Alvarez. But Gennady Golovkin is facing a guy named Steve Rhodes, who's undefeated. No Saul Canelo Alvarez, but for what I'm hearing in the wind, y'all, that they're trying to somewhere down the line in that 365 million 11 fight deal that Canelo did, they're trying to put Gennady Golovkin back in there for a trilogy. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to put Triple G back in there with Canelo Alvarez for a trilogy. Yep. And speaking of Saul Canelo Alvarez, I really want him to go over there and fight that southpaw called Demetrius Andrade. I want to see him go over there and try to unify the division. I do. I want to see Saul go over there and see how he will fare against somebody like Demetrius Andrade. And I want to see how Demetrius Andrade, fare against someone like Saul Canelo Alvarez. Don't y'all? Main event says sure is. WC has the plague. Is a great word to describe. It is, man. That shit is it destroys a lot of people. But good question at 24 about, do you think any black boxers that lose to someone like Toledo? It will be another mark, man. I don't look, boxing for one, it has his pockets for which they bow tie certain fighters. All right. That bow tie being the way you're treated in a sense of getting the big fights. Like you may be doing everything you believe you should be doing and going in there and performing the way, and us as fans saying, "Hey, look at so and so. They should be in this slot, not this that." That's where the play comes in. That's where the business, the business ethics and the play come in at. Where fighters that's doing everything, they've been formally introduced to that tier that they're on through hard work and dedication, and they're ready for the moment, but they're just not ticket sellers. Formally, they did everything they're supposed to do. They have, but they're not ticket sellers. They're not. So they don't get that love, man. They don't get that embrace from the fans, and the promoters. Look at Terrence Crawford. Look how he was promoted leading up to the Amir Khan fight. That was one of the worst. I mean, come on, man. I'm not going to get too much in detail. We didn't hear too much about that fight at all. That's real. I mean, did we hear so much about the Amir Khan? Like when we was over there, when me was over there and we was looking for Amir Khan, we pretty much sent up the bat signal, SOS. We're in the middle of freaking NYC in the street setting fires trying to send up and get Amir Khan to come out of hiding. For real. We was trying to go on Google and trying to find any damn April Fool's joke that could possibly sway him out of hiding, because Amir Khan would not come out and play with the media leading up to that fight. So that kind of hurt people tuning in too, because I seen Terrence Crawford out all the time, him and Bomac. They was out the entire 2 days leading up to the fight. And on fight day, still out and about. Amir Khan was nowhere to be seen, y'all. Like when we seen him on the last press conference and then the weigh-in, that was it. Once that was over, he went back into seclusion. I didn't like that, man. I didn't like that about Amir Khan. And then he go in there and quit and say he was hit low in the cup when it was on his legs. I just felt that, damn, you just proved our point there, Amir Khan. You didn't show us no love on damn fight week. You was in hiding, and then you go in here and quit. It was a disappointment. I'm not gonna lie. Main event say no one wants to see a trilogy. Hey, check the box on that shit, because that's a lot with the politics of boxing right there. Because they feel that the amount of people from both sides of the spectrum, there's a lot of Mexican fans that love Gennady Golovkin for whatever reason. Abel Sanchez was like, oh, it's more people out of Mexico that support Triple G than they do Saul Canelo Alvarez. I'm like, what? What? I know for a fact a lot of Mexican fans denigrated Canelo Alvarez when he popped for Clenbuterol. You know, they dogged him out. But that was only a short time. That he wasn't the first. Look, he wasn't the first guy to pop on that. You know, Canelo Alvarez wasn't the first, but they took him to the crucifixion. You know, let him burn a little bit, and then took him off the cross and said, "Okay, we're gonna give you another chance, heal you up." And he went in there and fought Gennady Golovkin again, and they was goddamn cheering like hell for Canelo Alvarez. And then you had the other layers cheering for Triple G. But when I got word that Triple G was leaving Abel Sanchez, I just laughed my ass off. I did. That right there was hilarious. Because Abel Sanchez is that same guy who said black fighters don't sell tickets. But then again, the one fighter that you have in your stable that you was making all your money off of ended up leaving, aborting the mission, retreat, egress, over. He exited and left Abel Sanchez. It's a dirty game out there, people, ain't it? Main Event said, I want him to fight Andre so bad. I'm from New England. Hey, man, I want to see the unification there, Main Event. I want to see that. Let's get this unification, man. Let's get that shit popping. I want to see that. Demetrius Andrade, he ended up getting a last-minute replacement because his boy Billy Joe want to go around and be a reality, just act like an idiot. I don't know what the fuck he was trying to do. Like, he was trying to do a damn crackhead hunter / boxer type deal. I don't know, bro. Like, I used to tell people, look at his company. He's hanging out with Tyson Fury, close to Tyson Fury, and then he's up there throwing chicken at Deontay Wilder in the restaurant. I said, God damn, what the hell is going on? Is this dude sober? Somebody need to goddamn do a urinalysis right now on freaking Billy Joe Saunders, man. But hopefully he comes back around to get that fight. Or else I want to see Canelo Alvarez unify the middleweight division. In between time, you got Jamal Charlo stepping in there with Brandon Adams. And Brandon Adams said that the contender prepared him for Jamal Charlo. Okay. I believe Jamal Charlo is going to be too much for Brandon Adams. He's going to put up a valiant fight. He's going to be very competitive. But I think, hands down, Jamal Charlo, in a sense, should have the skill set to edge out Brandon Adams. He should be able to keep that momentum going. I do. I give him the edge in there, man. You know, his rules of engagement should be that much more authoritative to outpoint Brandon Adams. Now, knockout. I think Jamal Charlo can stop Brandon Adams. I'm just being honest, people. What you think about that fight, Brandon Adams and Jamal Charlo? Do you think Jamal Charlo is going to go out there and try to make a statement and stop this guy since he is the winner of Contender? Because you know how boxers frown, you know, on fighters that's coming up out of that and getting a shot. You know what I'm saying? Do you think it's going to be a special day for Brandon Adams, or you think Jamal Charlo is going to go in there and handle business? You know, let me know what you think, that people. And, you know, like Main Event said, I don't know. I wouldn't mind seeing a trilogy, that Main Event. That's all I'm saying. I wouldn't mind seeing a trilogy because Canelo Alvarez is running out of opponents. Like, if you're not going to fight Jamal Charlo, just say Jamal Charlo. Everybody's looking for him to step up and fight somebody like Canelo Alvarez, right? But it's not going to happen anytime soon. I just don't see it happening. You know, Jamal Charlo go ahead and defeat Brandon Adams, and he do it in dominant fashion. then possibly. But what I don't want to see is the rotation come back around of Lemieux stepping back in there, a Spike O'Sullivan, and all this other nonsense that's over there. I just want to see the top. We've seen Daniel Jacobs step in there. I was disappointed. You know what I'm saying? I thought Daniel Jacobs could have did a lot more with Canelo Alvarez. So then again, you know, Daniel Jacobs might have lost his IBF title, but if no one else can defeat the gatekeeper, what are we going to expect from Canelo Alvarez? Like, if boxing goes in here and say, okay, we're gonna match up Daniel Jacobs against another contender at the highest tier, championship-wise, in Demetrius Andrade. Do y'all think that'll happen? It's possible that shit may happen. You know, Daniel Jacobs may be good enough not to defeat the best. That's just crazy, ain't it? Like, he may be that good enough not to be the best. Because we saw him with Triple G, we saw him with Canelo Alvarez, and then now, you think they're going to send him over there next door to Demetrius Andrade and for that WBO? Or are they going to say, okay, well, if Jamal Charlo step up, we'll put him in there, or whatever the case may be? Where does Daniel Jacobs fit out his performance against Canelo Alvarez in the middleweight division? I don't know, man. Maybe you can tell me. But Demetrius Andrade, he has to step up. Seriously. We need to see him in a nice one. 24 said, I want to see Big Charlo versus Canelo. 24 said, I want to see Big Charlo. Shit, hey, you know damn well when you come to separate those Charlo brothers, that 24, shit, you asking for the swarm. You know what I'm saying? You asking for the lunatic to come out. You know, the Big Charlo. You trying to say the one that received all the nutrition before birth? You know, the bigger, stronger Charlo? I hear you, man. Lions Only trying to do it, man. They trying to come up and be a household name. I think one of their methods for doing that, the 24, was trash talking and going in there being the knockout artist. That's what they was trying to do. It looked pretty how Jamal Charlo parried the touch jab of J-Rock. You know? I mean, the way he went in there and performed, both of them have their dominating performances. I can't sit up here and include Lubin in the deal because Lubin wasn't really proven yet. All right? He really wasn't proven. But the Charlos went on a streak where they were stopping dudes. And it kind of got to the forefront of their psychological thought process strategically to go in there and feel that they need to knock out to get their names in that position for the big fights. And it ended up stumping them. It ended up stumping Jamil. You know what I'm saying? Now Jamal going in there and fighting. Will he ever get a fight with Canelo, man? I just don't see it, man. But he needs that fight, though. Jamal Charlo needs freaking Canelo Alvarez. Really. Canelo Alvarez don't need Jamal Charlo. But Jamal Charlo needs Canelo Alvarez on his ledger. Y'all agree or not? I think Jamal Charlo needs Canelo Alvarez on his ledger, man. And he needs a win. 24 possibly. Main event say, I think they nervous about Andrade. He's a slick southpaw counterpuncher. Laura fights like that and gave Charlo fits. I know a lot of peeps that thought Laura won. Yeah. A lot of people thought that Laura won when it came down to Canelo Alvarez. You know what I'm saying? Like, that fight that Laura put in, you know, when he fought Jarrett Hurd. I mean, when it comes down to matching up these fighters for putting butts in the seats, all that is played into existence. Demetrius Andrade, the last time we seen him on a press tour with freaking Billy Joe Sanders, man, he was dressed like freaking the long lost pirate. off the Captain Crunch box. I mean, like, what the hell were you thinking? I don't know. That was the worst outfit I ever seen. But anyway, we do need to see him in there with someone that's going to give him a very competitive fight. That's what we need to see. And also to build up Demetrius Andrade, build up his popularity with the fans, man. Main Event said we probably won't get it because De La Hoya and Pilgrim Hearn want to protect their assets. You ain't never lied. I just don't see, like, with De La Hoya and Canelo Alvarez, I don't see him protecting assets, so to speak, with De La Hoya, because his resume is superb, man. Spectacular. De La Hoya's made some damn good money off Canelo Alvarez. Shit. Say no more, say less. De La Hoya, I mean, he has some other ones in the shoot too, their Main Event. He has Ryan Garcia on the bottom of the chain. You know, he has freaking Jaime Makia that he's hoping that stays the course and continue to win. I mean, but right now, at the helm, Golden Boy, Saul Canelo Alvarez. You know, and you know, I don't want to really get off topic and swerve into that freaking current and allow the sales to take me across the pond and start getting on Hearns. I just don't, because when it comes to Hearns and one of the biggest duckers in boxing history and Anthony Joshua, it's just a long-winded process that I'm going to give you. And I'm not going to do that today. Main Event said not Charlo Canelo. 24 said, yes, I agree. Sorry. Main Event said that was ridiculous. His resume is great. You're right. You know, I look at it like, you know, Canelo Alvarez is the cash cow for a reason, man. And that L that he took against Floyd Mayweather in that clinic, his career has did nothing but ascend since then. He's ascended, man. That lesson that he took at the hands of TBE, Canelo's never looked back. But I'll tell you one bout that will make all the sense in the world, because you know, a lot of casual boxing fans are not understanding that 50-0 record has been broken already. People are just not paying too much attention to it because of the star power that Floyd Mayweather possessed as a human being in the sport of boxing and what he's accomplished. But that is another fighter out there that's 51-0. So that record is what it is over here in the U.S. You know, people need to stop talking about it like something that's not achievable. Somebody's already did it. But check this out. I would want to see Floyd Mayweather come out of retirement and run it back with Canelo Alvarez. That could potentially be the biggest grossing fight, the most lucrative fight in boxing history. You know, I know I said, you know, early on, Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua may indeed break records, monetary records, right? I believe that if Floyd Mayweather was to come out of retirement and say, I want to face Canelo Alvarez in a rematch, the PPVs will be over $100, and people will come out here to see Floyd Mayweather once again try to take this L. That's just my assumption, people. I'm just saying they will come out of retirement. I mean, they will come to the TV screen and see Floyd Mayweather come out of retirement. And if the PPV is $115, $20, people will pay it. Hands down. They will pay it. I want to give a shout out to my man, Joshua Jr., man. Salute to Don't Blink. He's due to step back in there 13th July. I supported him for quite some time, man. One of the best in the game of boxing, in the sport of boxing. Really want to give a shout out to Don't Blink for your support, World Combat Sports. Dude is a real one. Lethal. If you probably don't know him, he's the one that brings a custom pillow to the ring. And he says, night, night, immediately following the referee instructions. And the rest is don't blink, because he's been on a 17-fight winning streak. He's been freaking knocking out his opponents, and he's absolutely entertaining to watch. So y'all have to go follow my man Josh Grid Jr., Chi-Town's finest. You know what I'm saying? You have to check him out. He's out there in Puma's gym, man, in California. He was out of Garfield Park over in Chicago, and then he moved out there on the coach John Pullman out there in California. So check out my man Josh Grid Jr. He's doing big things, changing the sport of boxing. I really support this guy and support him as a fighter, because he's definitely going to change the game. If you want to talk about excitement, you want to talk about technical prowess, you want to talk about heart, dog, tenaciousness. I mean, I'm telling you, Josh Grid Jr. is not the dude you play with. He's not, man. He's not the dude you play with any part outside the ring, talking that bullshit. And you probably seen that Jamel Charlo was going in on him at that time, and he was just up there chilling, wasn't really making a big deal out of it. And if you really don't know him, when he went in there and fought James Goldsmith, and he knocked him out, the shot hole, the punch, the knockout hurt all around the world. Check my man out. He's the truth, man. Bantamweight division. He is a problem. So he's making his way up the ladder right now to that championship scrap. So he's due to fight on the co-main event of Shakur Stevenson in Newark. So if you're looking at that, Shakur Stevenson just coming out the Barclays, Madison Square Garden. He had a dominating performance. Shakur has turned the corner on his career, and he's doing big things. So this time, and him going in there, going the distance, man, he was sharp. I'm talking about like a new Rolex. He was on time with his punching. He's been in the gym working.
I just want to hear your input. What do you think about Devin Haney, man? And the punch that basically they want to talk about boxing. I'm telling you, don't have a template, y'all. But damn, Devin Haney damn near had his right hand behind his back when he hit old boy and knocked him down and knocked him out. His hand was damn near. He loaded up so much on that punch, man. More power to him. I ain't gonna lie. He got the job done. Main event said, let me see. Let me go back up there. His resume, great. 24 said, how would they do this since Canelo's with the zone? And I'm sure they want it on PPV. I heard rumors that the zone might get PPV. Look, any fight of that magnitude, they can make that happen. The zone was a fledgling streaming service before, all these investors want to come together and talking about it was a $1 billion deal with Eddie Hearns, which it wasn't 1 billion. It was like these 2-fight contingencies. These 2-year contingencies on how the program, grows. If you want to look at it expanding over to the World Boxing Super Series, the zone, and also to Bellator. So it's still struggling. Even though it's signing fighters, it got Devin Haney. You know what I'm saying? They got Tevin Farmer. Clarissa Shields signed like a one-fight deal over there, whatever. Took care of that. So it's whatever. Main event say, I missed this. I missed his name. W said, who we talking about? I guess if I was talking about Canelo Alvarez coming out and fighting, I mean Floyd Mayweather coming out of retirement and fighting Canelo Alvarez. 24 say at Maine, the whole advertising PPV is dead. Shaking my head. Look, they can phase out PPV all they want and then go to these regular networks. But check this out though. How the zone is going to come out here. And I was telling people this. People don't like to hear things ahead of time because it just haven't came into the viewfinder yet. Their 24 main event. It hasn't came into the viewfinder for them to acknowledge it. But I was telling people, I say, yeah, they coming out here initially, this $9 and so forth. But sure enough, when they start putting fights together, in order for them to make that money, they're going to start increasing the price point. And that's exactly what they did. Not only did they increase the price point, people, they really fudged it. You go from $9, 24 or some whatever a month. Man, that's insane. Seriously, that is absolutely insane for the talent that you have over there right now. It's insane, man. Main event say, I think we lost him. You back. The heavyweight coming up. The heavyweight that's coming up. I'm not sure what you mean, main event. Who we talking about? The heavyweight that's coming up. There's so many heavyweights that's in the shoot right now. It's hard to even think who's fighting who. We talking about Efe Ajagba. We talking about Anthony Yard. I mean, who we talking about? We talking about freaking Alexander Usyk. I'm glad Usyk didn't fight recently because they're trying to make him out to be the next big thing. And believe it or not, I really hope that Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua hoping soon because it just seems like they're gonna be trying to push Usyk into that slot, being he was a former unified champion, and they think he can box so good. They're going to be trying to push him into that slot with Deontay Wilder. He hasn't established anything. Like, people don't really know who Usyk is. They trying to build him up like a Lomachenko, Golovkin. They're going to be trying to. Talking about, I was really just mentioning that Shakur Stevenson is headlining his first card. And you know, it's good to see that he's making moves like that to headline his card in his home soil, on his home soil. That's all. I'm not sure what's going on with this chat, but somehow is. But hold tight. Oh, it wouldn't allow y'all to leave a message. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's going on with it, to be honest. Let me see. Yeah, I'm not sure. But yeah, I only from what I see. Yeah. But I'm only gonna be on here like 5 more minutes anyway. I'm not sure why it's acting the way it is or whatever. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. But yeah, as I was saying, I was just putting it out there as far as Shakur Stevenson headlining this card over in Newark and making big moves in his performances because he's pretty much dominated his last opponent in DS. So I like how he's basically leaving behind the Olympic type status, even though a lot of people praise Lomachenko for it. But for Shakur Stevens, the silver medalist, the guy that actually, I guess, defeated him in the Olympics has just signed with Top Rank, I believe. So that might be a future opponent for Shakur Stevenson. But on the co-main event, like I was saying, it's Josh Gray Jr. And, he's stepping in there once again, staying active in his journey on his route to that championship belt. That's the man right there. Bantamweight, Josh Gray Jr. Don't blink. One of the most exciting, entertaining fighters in the sport. So be sure to check him out, man. If you ain't heard of him, if you don't know who he is, if you want to box, he'll box. He can box off the back foot. He can box, applying pressure, defense. He can go to the body. I mean, he's an all-around fighter, man. That's very entertaining, and more fight fans will tune in to as he continue to fight and get his name out there. Real talk. But besides that, man, we're gonna hit like a dense spot in the year 2019. As I'm on my way to close this live out, it's been a pleasure, doing really my first solid live. But in 2019, when it get down to June, it's gonna be it's gonna be a bit, dense in a way of competition that you want to see, because you got Tyson Fury, June 15th, Tom Schwartz. We all know what that's about. And then it just has some names up here. It's not even something that I would bring up on my live, because a lot of people, unless you really study boxing, you're not going to know who they are. So this goes like the month of June is going to be very shallow waters. I'm telling you, when you're talking about this wave in boxing. Jermell Charlo faces Tony Harrison, June 23rd. Okay, it lightens up a little bit because a lot of people are going to be looking forward to that. Jermell Charlo faces Tony Harrison, June 23rd. That's going to be at the Mandalay Bay, Las Vegas. And I don't know why the hell, Richard Comey stepping in there with Ray Beltran. I just don't know. I mean, hey, it is what it is. And Sulecki is due to step back in there with Demetrius Andrade, June 29th. For those of you that know, that Sulecki's only loss came against who again? If you remember, Daniel Jacobs. Then June 29th, Jamal Charlo and Brandon Adams. July 12th, Rob Brandt, Yoda Murata. But see, all these names are not really big names. Amir Khan is stepping back in there July 12th against Najir Gayat. Daniel Dubois is stepping in there with Nathan Gorman. Daniel Dubois is another fighter in the heavyweight division that's coming up in the lower ranks, And then you got July 20th, Dillian White versus Oscar Rivas. Oscar Rivas looked so funny at the dang presser that they had. But I'm gonna see if he's able to handle that Fury from Dillian White, because Dillian White, you know well as I do, Dillian, he's game. You know what I'm saying? I want to know if Oscar Rivas has a different type of mindset going in there with a boxer slugger like Dillian White. Then, of course, July 20th is Manny Pacquiao and Keith Thurman. Gervonta Tank Davis, like I told you earlier, out of Baltimore, Maryland, he's set to step back in there July 27th against Ricardo Nunez. Gervonta Tank Davis, 21-0 undefeated WBA champion, going there against Ricardo Nunez, 21-2, 19 knockouts. And I'm on my way out, World Breaker. I was just, speaking it up with the boxing fans, getting some input about certain things, primarily about the middleweight division a little bit, 24 said, I like Greer, but last fight, I see him taunting opponents too much, playing with his prey. Hey man, that's boxing, man. If you can kind of get away with showboating a little bit to the point where you teasing your opponents and playing with your food, I mean, the crowd want to see you out here entertaining. They want to see you out here entertaining, man. It just can't be good for certain fighters and not for the other. You know what I'm saying? You gotta want it all the way through in boxing. If fighters gonna go out here and showboat and you like and enjoy that fighter, you can't criticize the next one. I think it's kind of like that with fight fans sometimes. They want to see certain fighters showboat and really show that charisma. And then they want to see other fighters just go in there and box. That's not the world we live in anymore, to be honest. World Breaker say still rocking. Good work. I appreciate it, man. I just, you get into the talking points of boxing, and then it can go on for quite extensive amount of time. Hey man, why you on here, World Breaker? What you think about Charlo and Brandon Adams, man? You believe it's a fight that if Charlo goes in there and he goes in there and dominate Brandon Adams, who Brandon said he has prepared for Charlo from the contender, right? Do you think we might see a Canelo Alvarez and Jamal Charlo? Is it possible that the fight fans will want to see that fight now? Does Lions only Jamal Charlo has the star power to go in there with the cash cow? Or we're gonna see a fight between Canelo Alvarez. Oh no, we're gonna see a fight between Jamal Charlo and Demetrius Andrade. Who should he fight first? I think it'd be good to see him step in there with the guy he has a history with, and that's Demetrius Andrade. But of course, I wouldn't mind seeing him going there against Canelo Alvarez either. But they're moving Canelo a certain way to make as much money as possible to that $365 million Brinks truck that he inked that deal with. So, yes, that's the way it's going to be. But anyway, people, it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure today. And this is going to, I'm going to make it consistent, periodically throughout the week. It's really not much I wanted to talk about dealing with the fights that's upcoming this weekend because it's not that much excitement. But, I'm a boxing mainstreamer. I have to do research on certain fights. And then as media, you definitely have to cover fights that's not interesting to the fans. You have to put the content out there. That's one of the details of our responsibility is that we have to put the information out there and the content, period. We just can't talk about just the most important popularity aspect of boxing. We just have to talk about the fighters that's somewhat unnoticeable to the casual boxing fans. You know what I'm saying? That's unfamiliar. And that's Andy Ruiz. Andy Ruiz has an opportunity to change the scope of his dynamic when it comes to his notoriety in the sport of boxing. He has that opportunity this weekend. How he goes about doing it, I don't know. But I'm going to tell you like this. He's going to need a damn knockout. He's going to need a knockout. If it goes the distance, I'm pretty sure he's getting a rematch immediately. If he defeats Anthony Joshua, Anthony Joshua's got a rematch clause in there, quick. But besides that, that's just not much more I have to say about that fight. Seriously, it's a last-minute replacement from Jarrell Miller popping positive umpteen amount of times. And like I said earlier, don't be surprised that you see him drop back on the scene. You know what I'm saying? So, fellas, ladies, whoever that's tuned in, hey, be sure to follow and follow me on IG, man, Instagram, World Combat Sports, and check out my site, worldcombatsports.com. The articles that I write out there, I do write, and I try to stay consistent on writing on certain matchups. I'm not going to filter and spam on every boxing topic, but I like kind of writing my articles on my most popular matchups that I see fit. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to write on 15 freaking fights that happen weekly. I want to write on things that's special to myself and the boxing fans. So y'all continue to tune in. Be sure to check out worldcombatsports.com, Facebook, World Combat Sports, and of course, YouTube. Subscribe to the channel and pass the word, y'all. Appreciate your participation, and we shall do it again. Salute, and be sure to tune in and turn up.